Yeah, I would like to welcome the speakers to come on stage at this time. So first, Mr. Nguyen, please come to the stage. And then also Pop, please come to the stage as well and sit next to Long over there. That'd be great. And finally, Hankan, please come to the stage as well. We are missing one panelist right now. Richard Lee from Gate Ventures will be a little bit late, so hopefully he can join us a little bit later. And because this panel started a little bit late as well, we will look to end it maybe 5 minutes earlier so that everyone has time for the next panels. Really, it's a great pleasure to be here with all the esteemed panelists today. And today we're talking about a really interesting topic that has really exploded in the crypto landscape these days. And today we're talking about unveiling the potential of the Bitcoin ecosystem. And just a few years ago, I think nobody would have thought that Bitcoin would have become such a big topic with all these interesting developments going on. And would love to kind of have these panelists discuss all their insights and findings about this topic at hand. So would like to start with all these panelists to first introduce themselves and kind of what they do and how that relates to the Bitcoin ecosystem. And we can start in order with Long going first.
Thanks. Hello, everybody. My name is Long. I'm from Aura Network. We are a Cosmos chain, but also we built a lot of open source infrastructure like a Block Explorer, multi-signatures wallet, bridges, and things like that. So we start working in stealth for projects in Bitcoin for the last couple of months. That's why we joined this panel. So besides my time at Aura, I'm a Web3 builder in mostly to curate the builder community in Vietnam. So glad to be here.
Great, thank you so much. Pop, now please.
Thanks for joining us today. So I'm Pop. I'm one of the co-founders at Wellground. So Wellground is a conservative fund. We have an elite investor club in Thailand, around 150 people. We actually own a whiskey bar and a yacht club right by the river. So happy to host some of you guys. So for us, we're a conservative fund in the sense where we think we have a lot of traditional investors in Thailand and also around Asia who haven't been bridged towards the community yet. And then the first step for that is to get them to hold Bitcoin, right? If you come in and then you start holding Solana, ADA, or the other stuff, I think the journey would be in a bad shape. So for us, as a first fund, we have launched and then closed during the bear market. So for us, we have we believe to hold one of the biggest Bitcoin pool in Thailand as of now, in terms of our fund as of now. So for us, seeing the big proportion of our portfolio in Bitcoin, we do thrive to learn and get a lot of ecosystem info just to make sure that we stay on track on what we see as the upcoming innovations inside Bitcoin ecosystem. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much. Now, Richard, please.
Hi, thank you. So my name is Richard, just flew in from Dubai. Everyone probably heard about Gate.io. We've been in the market for 11 years. We only focus on technology. So today, being co-founder of Gate Ventures, we're launching our Fund 3. We only invest in the best performer of any sector, like Mona, Movement Labs, Eclipse, Hyperlane, things like that. So in Bitcoin ecosystem, we're actually the very first exchange that built an Ordinal pool. So safe to say we're the expert in this area. From all these Bitcoin layer 2 projects out there, they're pretty much scams because they're not really following the layer 1 securities, right? They're just sidechains. So we're leading the RGB development of Bitcoin ecosystem, which is Bitcoin Foundation in Switzerland officially recognized development team. The next phase of Bitcoin, from Bitcoin to Lightning Network, and then the RGB protocol. And we're also heavily deploying our Fund 2 and Fund 3. Thailand is my second home. We've been working closely with the family offices institution here, discussing various initiatives with K-banks and a few other entities. When we invest today, we definitely represent a lot of Thai family offices in this region, want to bring crypto technology into Thailand. Because to us, Thailand is the next Hong Kong, right, in terms of legalization, ETF regulation, as well as tax exemption when it comes to crypto trading. So there's a lot to discuss today. I would love to, meet everyone and see how we can work together.
Yep. Hankan, please.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation. My name is Hankan. I'm the co-founder and CGO of BEVM, which is an EVM-compatible Bitcoin Layer 2. I had a little hoarseness. I'm also coming from Dubai, where I'm based, where we experienced the flood. So I had to sleep two days in the car. So a little sick for that. Sorry for that. Well, we have just recently launched a mainnet. Currently have more than 600,000 active users on chain and over 1 million transactions. So what we're trying to do is actually doing all these transactions in a decentralized manner, keeping the original asset at the Bitcoin main network, whereas the transactions and all actions are happening on the second layer, BEVM. Very excited to be part of this panel, and I think it's going to be very fun.
Great. Thanks, everyone, so much for introducing yourselves. So my second question is directed towards the VCs and investors here in this panel. So starting with Pop and then Richard. So recently we've been hearing a lot of talks about the Bitcoin ecosystem. Here's why you guys think it's become such a popular topic as of late. So we'll start with Pop first.
Sure, but I have a very strong and stand view on Bitcoin, and I actually believe in the way of it being slow is okay, or even the function of it, right, stay as limited as it is. I believe in that. So for me, right, having the Bitcoin ecosystem growing is okay, but the function of it is already working, right? So coming from I used to be a CMO of a startup companies. So coming from a startup point of view, right? If you see a category of Bitcoin itself, the way the character or the function of it to be described and disrupt in a different angle of bank. Whatever bank do, we do differently, right? Just being decentralized and deflation and hitting deflation. That by itself is a good marketing and promotion of the Bitcoin itself already. And with that effect, right, coming from Bitcoin view, it inspires other and next generation, right, of tokens and coins and tokenomics already. So with that function by itself, I believe in the rise of, I hate to say this word, right? I believe in the rise of the stupidity of Bitcoin. So just be there at the very high macro level and get people from traditional money to join the crypto world through its branding, through its positioning, right? With that itself, I think it will already be helpful for the ecosystem. And as you said, right, a lot of new layer 2 in Bitcoin or sidechain or even scam chain. I call that so as well. I believe it's an early stage, so some of them will work, say 1 in 100, and then you guys are targeting those to invest, right? Similar to us, right? Holding Bitcoin for us is the safest way and the best way to communicate and then bring in the traditional world. Similar to a lot of investors who come in and see Bitcoin as their family office. These are big words, right? Family office fund, or corporate treasury fund, or national state treasury fund, right? Those are the angles and the way to prevail in the futures where Bitcoin have a best position by itself already, beside all the technology that it created and inspired. So for me, having this stance, make it very clear for our fund to hold a lot of this and then present it as the way it is, rather than to show off or trying to promote new ecosystem that kind of change the narrative every single years. Yeah, that's my view. To be very frank. Yep.
Thank you for your insights there. Richard, please.
Yeah, I definitely concur. So to us, it's just back in the day, there was only Bitcoin, right? 2013, we built our Gate.io, we built our first line of code. In 2014, there's Mt. Gox, right? That was the biggest Bitcoin exchange back in the day, based in Japan. And, we're all engineers. We study a blockchain. Actually, we started the very first, student blockchain club talking about Bitcoin among Ivy Leagues at Cornell University. Soon we spread to MIT, Stanford, and they're doing better than us. So I think Bitcoin is just what the core of this technology is all about. And fast forward, 10 years later, 2024, right? At East Denver, it's amazing to see all the Western VCs asking, what are these mysterious Bitcoin layer 2 or Bitcoin ecosystem project coming from Asia, Greater China or region, right? They have even higher TVLs than the Ethereum layer 2. I think despite there might, like you mentioned, there's some good and bad apples, but the trend is, we cannot ignore it, is that Web3 or driven by Bitcoin, right? It's the first time developers in Asia have the same starting point as developers in the West, or somewhat even better. Because if we look back 2018, right, Greater China region, the Asian cycles have probably 80% of the Bitcoin in the entire world before the regulation come in. So I think it's more like a comeback because all the users originate from Asia regions, and now with the scalability problems being solved, we can see a lot more applications, tractions coming back to the Bitcoin ecosystem. So we're certainly very bullish on this sector.
Yeah, thank you so much. And actually, my next question is really related to kind of what, Richard, you were alluding to a little bit earlier, which is that there's a lot of Bitcoin L2s out there right now. So I have a question for you, Richard, as well as Hankan, because Hankan is building a Bitcoin L2. So just curious what you guys think of them and what you guys think the outlooks of Bitcoin L2s are going to be in the future. So I'll start with Hankan, I guess, since he hasn't spoken yet.
Sure. Basically, there are a lot of reasons for that, but the first thing is I just want to talk about the ratio. When you look at the market cap of Ethereum versus its ecosystem valuation, it's like around 400 to 500 billion to 40 to 50 billion around. I'm just giving rough numbers. But when you look at Bitcoin, basically there's literally no ecosystem. We have just started build. That's really pity because we're not able to use the we're not able to really utilize the value of Bitcoin. We have always thought Bitcoin as and seen Bitcoin as store of value, just keeping in the wallet with the expectation, of some other things. But now, in particular with upgrades of Bitcoin like Taproot in 2021, we could now build on the top of Bitcoin. And increasing privacy and security as well as scalability. And we have started even seeing a lot of use cases like Lightning Network, basically, in particular for payments. So I'm not sure if you guys tried it, but you're able to buy coffee. In the past, it wasn't that, much possible because you used to pay very high fees for that. It was not feasible, but now we're able to do this, and that's already one of the use cases. And other than that, we have actually had a lot of chances to talk with different ecosystem builders. Those are on Ethereum, Solana, different chains. We are an EVM compatible Bitcoin layer 2, so we have seen their interest. But what we need is actually awareness. We still see this. It's not much known. They're still not aware that actually they're able to do similar things, even more things on Bitcoin on layer 2. But that's the reason why I think one of those events are very useful, increasing this awareness and letting people know and inviting them to build together with us.
Thank you, Richard. What do you have to say about this?
Yeah, these are definitely the trends that's going on in the space. Coming from a retail point of view, right? We talk about inscriptions, ruins, but a lot of people ignore that today, 2024, right? When we talk about Bitcoin ecosystem, institutions are playing a even bigger role, right? Since the BTC ETF got approved, we've been seeing tremendous inflow from the institution side. And surprisingly, when we, from Gate Ventures perspective, right, our team all came from crypto native plus traditional finance background. I was running M&A of data centers back in Morgan Stanley. So we actually have this vast majority of banking and mining network in Europe, right? For example, we invest in Koa, the very first renewable data center for mining in Norway, and they utilizes all the European banking network where all the retailers deposit their BTC or purchasing the BTC ETF by putting BTC into the banking platform, right? And now these banks are looking for ways to harness the Bitcoin ecosystem solutions, especially generating yields. Imagine if people can today put all these BTC ETF into a yield generating platform. The impact is going to be huge. Bitcoin will no longer just be a high risk, high reward asset. At the same time, it's going to generating tremendous yield that bonds, treasuries never really seen before. So I would say, just from an institution point of view, combining with the retail, that's pretty much what we see in the current Bitcoin ecosystem. And definitely, people should start paying attention to how institution works, because there's still a lot of opportunity to front run them based on their still regulation and bureaucracy. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. So you guys talked a little bit about how the sustainability of Bitcoin, in a sense, right? How as Bitcoin progresses, you could keep on farming yield, et cetera, or obtaining certain yield strategies, kind of with the Bitcoin ecosystem. I have a question for Long specifically, because obviously you're a technical guy, right? And as people might know, Bitcoin undergoes halvening cycles every few years. Curious about how the halvening kind of affects sustainability of Bitcoin in the medium to long term.
Thanks. Okay. So yeah, obviously I do have a little bit of different view coming from an engineering technical perspective, right? If we see the Bitcoin as an asset, but if we see like what is the intrinsic value of the Bitcoin network, you can see that the strongest point of Bitcoin is it is decentralized, and all the security the attribute of Bitcoins because it is decentralized, and because of the proof of work that everybody do mining. They have a way to incentivize people to participate in the network to strengthen its security. And that's the only thing that make Bitcoin is the best asset in the world because it's decentralization and security, right? And halving is a problem, but it's also like an opportunity because it's forced the network to be evolved. Because like every 4 years or every like a certain block, right? The difficulty of the network is still the same, increasing or decreasing, but the profit of miners are like lowering. So obviously you cannot rely on mining alone to get profit from mining Bitcoin to protect its security, right? Even like when we talk centralized exchange or institution, they hold Bitcoin, but they don't contribute to its security at all. So that's why for us, even for like Bitcoin developers, we have to find a new way for the network to be more, do more things in terms of how do you pay miner more. And the only way you can pay miner more to incentivize them to protect the security of the network is to have more transactions. Or you have to keep increasing the value of Bitcoin, of course, right? It can happen either way. But anyway, what we see with the halving, the current one, right? The block of the halving is the biggest block that have the transaction fee value, and it just increased. So miner now do have another way for them to gain more instead of just hoping for like people keep buying Bitcoin. And also, it's just the nature of the humankind, right? When you have a very difficult problems of having make sure that everything you do comply with the previous generation of miners, you have a very difficult problem now to introduce more feature on Bitcoin. And we see that the sentiment of the developer are changing. Before, Bitcoin is just mining, and then there's a segregation witness probably a couple of years ago, and then inscriptions, and then drones, you see that developers are taking more way to involve in the Bitcoin ecosystem. And now we have people like Hankan to build L2. Even though it's not the proper L2 in definition from Ethereum, but we are trying to get there, to be fully decentralized, to be fully depends on the security of Bitcoin, and to be more, it's just science, right? If you have a very difficult problems and you know that you are facing a crisis, it just like make the society to bring more good people. It's all low-hanging fruit, right? So that's my point. Like it's natural.
Yeah, thank you for your more technical insights into this pretty complicated question. There's only a few minutes left in our panel here, so I would like to end this panel by asking. We see kind of a lot of use cases of Bitcoin ecosystems these days, such as ordinals, inscriptions, a bunch of other stuff kind of popping up in the last year. Curious about your medium to long-term views on kind of what use cases you think will empower the Bitcoin ecosystem kind of in the medium to long term. And for those questions, I would like to start with Pop, and then we can kind of go on from there.
Sure, thanks for that. I'll answer in the so he has the technical and builder perspective already. Right? From my side, I want to let everyone look at Bitcoin as a financial product, right? Today, this year on the 11th of January, it's the first day that ETF got approved, 11 of them. So it's the first time ever in our generations where people take it seriously, okay? Because we're in a crypto world, right? So we have been seeing it for a long time that Bitcoin is there, whatever, right? But people, the big guys are starting to take it seriously on this new asset class. So if you look at it in a new in an asset class way, right? There are a lot of features and functions to be given. So a lot of flexibility and liquidity to be provided. For example, in the future, I would hope to see something like a money market for Bitcoin ETF. Just simple as that, right? Like if you have a Bitcoin ETF, and you want to hold Bitcoin but never sell, sometimes have a little bit of RWA and real world asset angle, and then create some option or hedge them with their family port, right? With that alone, just one feature alone, right? Look at it as a financial product or new asset class. What it will prevail and drive in terms of the ecosystem is that more institutional or more treasury or national state treasury will just come in very regularly. Or another features I would look into was about yield. So about having yield if you hold Bitcoin, right? So right now, currently getting with its positioning of being a store of value for such a long time, that kind of deduct the value of people finding yields under Bitcoin, right? But if you can get a bond level yield, for example, 4 to 5%, right, just from Federal Reserve government from the US. And give a yield of Bitcoin, say 3 to 5%, I think people and institutional or corporate or even big family office will start to see through this product and make it even more seriously. And with that alone, right, just 2-3 functions or features that we add into the Bitcoin ecosystem, look at it as a financial product, right? Things will just drive for Bitcoin in the next few years. And I think people will be surprised about the growth of either the price, the value, or the store value of it as well, right? That these small features of a new financial product or asset class, it will help grow a lot of ecosystem. And of course, behind that scene, builders, speculators, investors, all will get benefits of it, right? But I don't see a lot of people who kind of turn this Bitcoin products into a little bit more simple, like simplified, but very direct to value of those who have a lot of wealth in this world. Yep, so that's my overlook on the Bitcoin world.
Thank you, Pop, for your insights there. I think, Richard, you grabbed your mic right there. Like, did you want to comment on that, or?
Yeah, just to answer your question, maybe briefly, because we don't have much time. I think from users' perspective, inscription, ruins, these are very good applications, and we do see there a lot more room to make profit, right? Whether you are retailers or your institution, the trend is there, and we're still in the bull run. So there's money to make. But from a technical perspective, right? You asked what's the mid long term solution out there? We believe it's just RGB only, right? Because to counter arguing myself, even though we built the very first inscription pool, but from now looking back, inscription was in the wrong direction. It's forcing NFT tokens onto the UTXO. But right now, when we look at RGB following the guideline of the Bitcoin white paper, right? The most key thing that RGB does right is following the Lightning Network, which is the client-side validation. You only keep the things necessary on chain, right? Anything offline transaction data, you can just verify yourself. So with that continuation, right? Now we look at RGB, which is going to take another 3 to 5 years to build. 2016, Peter Todd, a core Bitcoin developer, proposed this idea, right? And it's been slowly progressing because it takes tremendous energy effort to build a swap platform, to build a wallet, and eventually the ecosystem. But 2023, we see Taproot, which is a very similar solution based on CVS, client-side validation, has been, attracting quite good traction. So we believe the time is here. That's why, our resources were largely allocating to the RGB development. And I believe, just to answer your question, that could be something to take a look in the mid to long term. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. In the interest of time, unfortunately, I think we have to conclude this panel. There's a bunch more questions I actually wanted to ask all you guys, but unfortunately, we just don't have the time left to kind of discuss everything. I'm not really like a Bitcoin maxi or anything, but kind of through talking with you guys, I think maybe I'll go out and buy some Bitcoin today. So yeah, thank you all so much for all of your insights. And thank you, audience, for tuning in. Thank you all so much.